Okay, welcome back, Nick Lenz. This is Comic Corner Classics slash Non-Classics. This is episode number 1124 and Doubleshot number 1018. I got one Marvel trade and one DC trade. Now, the first one is from Tom Taylor, a guy who is a very critical acclaimer. People love this guy's work, and this is one of his best series he worked on. Despite the fact right after this series concluded, the character had identity taken away and go backwards in character development for like a year. But luckily enough, the current writer of X-Men realized, oh yeah, that was stupid. This is all new Wolverine, Volume 3, Enemy of the State 2, an in-name sequel only to the original Enemy of the State storyline from the early 2000s by Mark Millar. Like I said, written by Tom Taylor, artwork by at least about two different artists on here. At least one. You have Nick Barilla and Deborah Masapan. Yeah, Nick Barilla does issues 13, 14, and 16, 18. But every two are still by Deborah Masapan. Now, this is an in-name story sequel to that particular one. Now, the story goes like this. Like, Laura basically, like, the story opens kind of like a flash forward in a way, where she's basically in the destruction of a town, and she's like mad that she did something. Cut to 3 days prior. She receives a mysterious package. What's inside this package? It's the trigger scent. Yep. An object that has not been seen since the original X-23 limited series from the mid-2000s. Yeah, it makes the return here. I told my friend Edgar about it. He was shocked to hear that they brought this thing back. Yep, so Laura's like, Gabby, pack your things and bring Jonathan. We're going to California. Yep, I'm going to a cabin formerly owned by Logan. Yep, Logan owned this cabin, so stay here. Out of the countryside. The trigger scent is actually released via airplanes. Yes. So, yeah. And then apparently it's kind of implied off screen that Laura, well, Wolverine, killed the small townspeople. And we have this trigger happy moron named Brett, who thinks she's a murderer just because she's got freaking claws. Nick Fury doesn't actually believe that she was responsible for this. This means there's very little evidence to support it. And even he tells him, calm down and stop hitting her. So basically, in order to basically track down these mysterious planes, it's like, yeah, this was done by a mysterious plane. Now, here's the thing. It's later revealed she actually didn't do this, though. It's actually done by somebody else. It's actually connected to her. What happened is that she actually took a claw to her brain and knocked herself unconscious in order to not be exposed to trigger scent. Yeah. This whole thing was done by a woman named Karma, the woman behind the Weapon X program. Yep, and it's also revealed what happened in the original miniseries, where the trigger scent basically caused her to kill her own mother, Sarah, and kill her sensei, the one who taught her how to fight. And we also have in this book guest star appearances by Gambit. Yes, Gambit. And screw Marvel's basically logic, thinking that Gambit basically is the reason why books don't sell. That is complete utter bullcrap. Yeah. He shows up here. Warren's here too. Yes, this is basically Angel. The young version of Angel, who is Laura's boyfriend. Yep. Yeah, they're still dating. I believe they broke up after this, if I'm not mistaken. I think they did. Oh yeah, by the way, Nick Fury, who's in here? It's Nick Fury Jr. Now, I do have a theory of why Tom Taylor put him in here. Because his father made frequent appearances in the original Wolverine title. So, it makes perfect sense. And the reasoning why he exists in the Marvel comic universe, for a lot of people, it's complete utter stupidity. It's like, oh, we have Black Nick Fury in the movies. Let's put a Black Nick Fury in the comic books. Even though we already had one in the Ultimate Universe. But nope, let's just make Nick Fury black. But at least they didn't change his skin color. Nope, they made this guy the son of Nick Fury. Though thanks to his initial miniseries debuted in, it brought us Phil Coulson. Yep, aka Cheese. That was the nickname, Cheese. I thought that was so funny. Yep. So, oh yeah, and also we have Tiger show up here, another character who is associated with Wolverine. Of course, she's not the only one. We also return of Roughhouse. Yes, an android lookalike for Wolverine. Yeah, he's an old sparring buddy of Wolverine. He used to spar with him a lot over the course of the original. If you ever read the original ongoing series from that started back in the late 80s and went throughout the 90s, mostly by Larry Hama, this guy appeared in there, and it's great to see him again. Eventually, at the very end, Karma herself is killed by Laura, and Nick Fury has no problem with it at all because she basically cleared her name. Yeah, she wasn't responsible. And like at one point they had to hide Tiger because, well, she sort of faked Dota, but this was an overall really fun story to read. And just by sheer coincidence, in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. title, we have a reference to the original event because Melinda May, yeah, she's in the Marvel comic universe, she hates Elektra for bringing down the Blackhawk. It was a S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier brought down by Elektra during events of the original Enemy of the State storyline. Oh yeah, and one thing I love about this, we have a clear homage to the classic Wolverine Weapon X, not the ongoing series, mind you, the original storyline from Archon Presents. Yeah, it's a clear homage to that. I like the fact we sort of explore like a little bit of, or like show like a flashback to that miniseries. I like at the very end we actually had a chance to see Laura's aunt and cousin again. That was really nice of Tom Taylor to do. This feels like a good, let's say, conclusion to Laura's big story, but don't worry, this is not the end of the series. There's actually, believe it or not, a handful more trades after this. I think it's about 3, I think there is. I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Really good. It's something that this came right after the Civil War II tie-in. Yeah. So, next is Green Lanterns, Volume 4. This collects Green Lanterns, issues 22-26. Still written by Sam Humphries. This artwork is not done by Ethan Skyler like the original trades were. This is done by like about half a dozen artists. We have Roman Kalik, Carlito Barry, Julia Pereira, Daniel Hurkis, Eduardo Perisca, Robertson Ruka, and Matt Soretti. I think I met this guy. He's actually a really nice person. The cover art is done by Brad Peterson. Now, there's a couple different stories for this one. One, we start off with Jessica Cruz, where she's actually lost in space, and she runs into Kyle Rayner. Yep, though he's not the only person we haven't seen in a while pops up in this book. And of course, we do reference what's going on in the pages of how we're going to go. This is before what happened. The storyline fractured well before that. So basically, Jessica Cruz is brought to basically Mogo for training. And she has her basically land taken away because she's not fully trained. And so Simon Boz Simon Boz is trained, but basically gets next level training. He gets to be trained with Kyle Rayner, while Jessica Cruz, her trainer is Guy Gardner. Yes, and there are references to Batman here, which I think is so hilarious. And I love the fact they reference that Hal Jordan notices, like he shows up in here, he notices that. This, of course, after the training, I'll get to what happened, right? He does notice that Simon Boss stopped carrying a gun. And Hal Jordan's actually pretty happy with the fact he stopped carrying a gun, which, yeah, my guess is the reason why Humphreys did that. Because they probably, and this is my personal opinion, I think he didn't like the fact we had a superhero who already has a weapon, the Green Lantern ring, having a firearm. He probably didn't like that at all. And also probably didn't make much sense for Simon Boss to carry one. So he's like, I'm going to get rid of it. Just give it to Commissioner Gordon. By the way, the gun is basically after this is not even mentioned ever again in the series. Now, basically, how they pass their training is by, well, in the case Jessica Cruz, punching Guy Gardner in the face. Which, yeah, there are references to basically, there's a reference here that Batman did it. Which, by the way, in case you're wondering, when in the world did Batman punch Guy Gardner in the face? That happened in the original Justice League International ongoing series during like the first year of the comic. back in the late 80s. If you read the trades that collect that run, it is such a hilarious scene, and Black Canary regrets missing that. Seeing Batman punch Guy Gardner. He references that he used to be a jerk, he still kind of is. And basically, by punching him, she passed the test. Because it seems like everybody treats Guy Gardner as their punching bag. And as for, well, Simon Boz, like, it was just like maybe trained with Hal Jordan and John Stewart, who was the leader of the Green Lantern Corps, is like, no, not yet. Hell no. You're training with Kyle Rayner, which, okay, quite cool. And plus, I love what he did. I love the artists, what they did with this. They actually had a clear reference to Kyle Rayner's entire history, which I thought was so cool. Yeah, the fact he did this. Yeah, I was so happy that he did this, that it made me smile. Heck, if you're a fan of Kyle Rayner, you would love this moment. Yeah, where Kyle Rayner decides to, like, make multiple versions of himself from over the course of the years he's been around comic books. Since his debut, since we first started as a Green Lantern. Let's see if I can find the page here. Here it is. Here is Kyle Rayner currently in his outfit he had just before the Flash reboot. And here he is with all his other outfits. When I saw this page again, I was like, yeah, it's like the artist is a clear big fan of Kyle Rayner. And it is so good to see a lot of these outfits that it is quite something. And Simon was like, oh, hell no. I thought that was so funny. And basically, yeah, he passes by punching him. And then we deal with basically, like, we also have sort of a side plot here. Because the series called Green Lanterns, let's recruit more Green Lanterns. Yep. And after the training is over with, they deal with, like, the story is called The First Ring. So, they get the first assignment. Going Remy, the Guardians in the book, is issue 1. They're protecting by going to this mausoleum for the basically dead people. They run to a friend of theirs. And then basically Simon Boz basically points out who the next person to run to. It's Wolverine, the first Green Lantern. What the heck he's doing here? And Simon points out, though, Necron killed you. Yeah, he did do that back in Green Lantern Volume 5, number 20. He killed him by slicing him in half with his death scythe. Yeah, it was by far somewhat of a gory scene to see in the final issue of Jeff Johns' run. And how in the world he's alive is never actually explained. At least Simon Boz was written out to be stupid. And I figured, hey, why are you alive? You died! I saw you die! And Simon Boz say that makes perfect sense because he was definitely there. In the case of Jessica Cruz, she probably has no idea who the heck this guy is. And they kind of reveal sort of his backstory. Not only he's the first Lantern, apparently he's from a different universe. Or he's from Earth 15. And he has the travel ring, which I thought that was interesting. Also, Simon's ring gets crushed, so don't worry, he gets new one later. Though this ring was actually originally Sinestro's ring. And he's had this since Green Lantern Volume 5, number 0. Yeah, that's long he's had it. He's had it since 2013. I think this came out in, like, because they're releasing this twice a month, I think these issues were released in, like, 2017. So yeah, he had this ring for roughly about 5 years. And now it breaks after 5 years. But it's so good the fact they did this. This overall is a really damn good storyline. And you gotta love the Easter eggs, the Green Lantern history in here. Well, mostly for Kyle Rayner and and Guy Gardner. John Stewart is here, mostly, and also Kilowog is here, which always nice to see him. And it was mentioned by Simon that Kilowog trained half the current Corps, which that is actually true. He did do that. I'm kind of glad that Sam Humphries keeps Kilowog's whole history intact, which I thought that was so good of him to do. This book is fantastic. Give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Can't wait to get book 5. Yeah, there's only about a few books left. And Humphries himself, it doesn't take the book very long. Yeah, he leaves, I think it's about 2 strokes after this one. Yeah, he hands up to Tim Seeley for like a couple story arcs. And then for the final arc of the series, it's handed off to Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins. Good creative team, and I will discuss that trade when I get to it, and basically what Mike Perkins feel about doing that storyline with Dan Jurgens. And in case you're wondering though, that storyline was Mike Perkins' first DC comic storyline he ever did. But I'll get to that when I get a chance to get my hands on that book. Also, I gotta point this out though. I got this book for like $10 from Amazon. The initial cover price of this thing is $15. Yeah, really cheap. And I will just and apparently I'm getting like one trade tomorrow, and its cover price is really dirt cheap. You guys are wondering how much this one was in All New Wolverine? This was $17.99. I got this for about $6 used. Yeah, it's used because it's a bit worn here on the spine. Yeah, it actually came like that because I bought it used because it was the cheapest price I could find. Because occasionally I don't like the price they charge some of these books, so I just buy them used. But at least some of the books I get that are used are actually like in good condition. This I got this one new. This one I got this one used. Yeah, but I'm glad that I got these ones, and I'm hoping to get Volume 4 soon. But since I got Volume 4, I can now get Volume 5 for Green Lanterns. I think there's overall about, let's see, this is 4. I think there's about 4 or 5 trades left for this particular trade series, and that's it. In case you're wondering, is this series publishing more? No, the end of this series, I think it was about, if I remember, I think it ended this book after, I think it was just a, yeah, I think they ended this book after about 3 years, publication-wise. Yeah, they ended the book after almost 3 years, which is quite something. Yeah, the reason why they ended it, I have no idea why they ended it for. They replaced the book with a new Green Lantern book with Hal Jordan as a star. Yeah, why in the world they decided to do that, I have no idea. Believe Jessica Cruz is still around, in Just Like Odyssey. Simon is not. After this book ended, he was never featured in a comic again. Not that I can think of anyways. I don't think he was even featured in The Green Lantern. That's what they call the Green Lantern book now, The Green Lantern. That book is written by Grant Morris. We'll discuss that in the future, that book, whenever I get my hands on a trade for. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. My next view will be New Chapter Fire Force. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.